My sister, who has always been the golden child in our family, is demanding that I give her my wedding venue. My parents are siding with her. Last week, they hosted a family BBQ, and in the middle of it, my sister announced her pregnancy. Everyone was thrilled for her. During the celebration, she asked me in front of everyone if she could use my wedding venue for her own wedding. She thought it was beautiful and claimed she couldn't plan her wedding without it. This venue is where my fiancé and I have planned to have our wedding in a few months, a venue we've waited 3 years to secure. Everyone expected me to agree, but I firmly told her that as much as I love her, she couldn't have my venue. She started crying and stormed off. Immediately after, my grandmother told me I was being selfish because my sister needed the venue more. When I tried to defend myself, my mother said, "You waited 3 years. Could it have hurt you to wait? A few more months? When has your sister ever asked you for anything?" After a few more comments, my fiancé got really angry, and we left before he lost his temper completely. Later, my sister called me crying, saying it was unfair that I always get what I want, and that I could have done this one thing for her. My brother-in-law then called to apologize for the inconvenience, explaining that he had discussed it with my sister and she had promised not to ask. He was genuinely angry with her and warned me that my sister was blaming me for potentially ruining her marriage, when in reality, she had done that herself. My father sent me about 5 texts saying things like, "I hope you're happy. Your sister hasn't stopped crying since yesterday." My fiancé and I decided to remove my sister from the bridal party and replace her with my aunt, the only family member who supported me. We haven't decided whether to invite the rest of my family. My mom took it upon herself to tell my fiancé's parents that it would be best if my sister got the venue because she's pregnant. My future father-in-law told her off, saying they would lose me if they kept playing favorites, which made my mom cry and call him names. It felt like a bad soap opera. My in-laws are driving to us with supper and wine, telling me not to worry and that they will be my safety net. My sister kept berating me about the venue, saying I was being unfair and that as family, I should support her. She sent me a long text about us being family and how I should have her back. The only reply I sent was, "I am sorry that you perceived it that way. I am sick and tired of bending to your will my whole life. I have been your servant and your doormat. Remember all the birthdays I had to share with you because you would throw a tantrum if you didn't get presents? Or when you cried so I would fill out job applications for you because you were too lazy to write your own CV, and mom supported you in that. But the thing that hurt me the most was when you ruined my graduation. Remember how you said it wasn't fair that I was getting all the attention and you wanted in on the celebration? So you took it upon yourself to wear the most expensive dress our parents could buy you, made a cake for yourself, hung up balloons for yourself, and insisted on being included in every picture I took. I am done. I admit I spoiled you too, but no more. If you want to marry so badly before your baby is born, then look at a different hotel that offers last-minute weddings. I have spent too much time planning my wedding to give it to you. If you want to ruin our relationship over this, then go ahead. I will sleep soundly knowing it wasn't my fault." She only replied with, "Wow, you must love me so very much," and blocked me. She unblocked me the next morning to send me a message from a wedding planner saying, "Hello, dear. I got the message from your mother and will proceed with rebooking the venue immediately. However, this will incur extra costs as we have to change the names on the contract. Please come by my office tomorrow so we can sign the new contract." My parents haven't written to me since the incident with my father-in-law. My older brother contacted me wanting to know what happened because he got a strange story from mom and dad. Mom had told him I had offered to give up the venue to my sister before the BBQ and that I humiliated her. I told him the truth, and he believed me. We talked a lot about our parents' behavior, and he confessed that him moving away was partly due to our parents being difficult to us. He told me mom had gotten mad at me for betraying the family. We called my planner, who was horrified. She told me she had never spoken to my mother since the day we booked the venue, and assured me that even if they called and said I wanted it, I had to be present to make any changes. We informed everyone working on our wedding, and they offered to hire security for that day at a reduced price. My sister is now lashing out against me on Facebook, making constant passive-aggressive remarks and claiming I made her depressed. I've received many messages from her friends saying I am heartless for treating her that way. I blocked every attempt at online harassment and my sister as well. But 2 days ago, my sister's best friend egged my car. I called the police, and my neighbor, who enjoys looking outside and spying on people, identified them. She is a grumpy lady, but actually very lovely once you get to know her. After not talking to my parents for several days, they called and asked if we could talk things out. I was wary, but agreed to meet them at our apartment with my fiancé. When they arrived, you could tell my mom had been crying, and I felt bad for about 10 minutes. It turns out my sister is just acting out, with no medical history or diagnosis. We started chit-chatting awkwardly, then began talking about the matter. My father first asked us why we canceled the caterers, to which my fiancé responded that we didn't want them to have anything they could hold over our heads. Dad acted offended and said he would never do that, to which I said, "Better safe than sorry." My mother continued, calling me disrespectful for talking to them that way. I called them disrespectful for all they had said and done over the last few days. We got into a heated argument about the venue again, to which my father repeated "It doesn't matter where you get married, but the person you are marrying" nonsense. And finally, I gave him the comeback, "Yes, Dad, exactly. But isn't it weird how that only applies to me and not my sister? As long as she is marrying brother-in-law, it doesn't matter where, right?" It was quiet, and my father was red like a tomato, gasping for air like a fish on land. My mother was quietly crying again, so I said, "Well, I am waiting for your reasoning." My father slapped his hands on the table and went on a rant about family and sacrifices and how a loving family should do what's in their power to make each other happy. I just responded, "Like how you tried to make me happy on my graduation day. You know, about the time my sister smashed my cake because she wasn't in the limelight?" Quiet again. My mother quietly said, "Why do you hate us so much?" I looked at her and said, "I could ask you guys the same thing." Again, nothing. My parents knew they had messed up, but were not ready to admit it. My mother tried to guilt trip me, saying my sister is miserable and hasn't gone out in days because people judge her so much. My father went on a tangent about how my little sister just needs more time and attention because she is the youngest, basically excusing her behavior. I told them I felt hurt because I now saw their blatant favoritism, that they didn't even try to conceal the fact that they loved my sister more. My mother tried to say, "That's not true. We love you all the same." I wasn't having it. I opened a list I had written on my phone where I had recorded every point I could remember about them putting my sister before me. It was a very long list, some with dates, some more specific situations. When I was finished, my parents were horrified, beet red, and near tears. They wanted to start explaining again how I was wrong, but I said that this conversation was leading nowhere. They either set up family counseling for us and apologized to me, or they wouldn't be invited to the wedding. They left and haven't called since. After I last spoke to my parents, they did not let go of their position. I was the bad guy, responsible for my sister's depression and her failing relationship. It went so far that I had to block them and change my number as they were contacting me from relatives' phones and so on. It was a real bummer, especially during a time that should be so special. I was harassed by my sister and her entourage on Facebook and Instagram, so I simply deleted them. It was a mentally draining time, but my husband's family, friends, and my brother helped me get through it. I had basically cut off every family member that had given me crap for keeping my wedding date. My Nan came to my door a few days before the wedding, begging to let her come. I had a long talk with Nan, and she ended up apologizing, even though she still failed to see the logic in switching weddings. But she did not want to pressure me and wanted to be there for me. We hugged it out, but our relationship is not back to normal yet. The bachelor party was amazing. We were cooking until dawn, and everything turned out delicious. My husband made a beautiful 3-layered cake. On the wedding day, the morning was really good and relaxing, but then came time to leave for the ceremony. We were at the venue taking before pictures with my friends when I saw my sister's car approaching the venue. One of my friends ran to the venue to get one of the security people we hired. I really didn't want another chaotic moment at my wedding. She had been angry and crying, and as soon as she saw me, she started screaming obscenities, apparently calling me a filthy bitch that made her fiancé break up with her. She was possessed, and at that moment, I couldn't help but feel pity for her. One thing to explain is that in the mornings, the plants are always watered at the venue by some of these sprinkler systems, so the earth was a bit muddy. The next thing happened really fast. My sister bent down to take mud and was getting ready to throw it at me in my dress when my maid of honor sprinted towards her and pushed her so that she fell with her butt into the flowers. The security officer arrived seconds later and removed her. With that, I had enough ammunition to file for a restraining order against her. I didn't even want to file a police report at this point. I just wanted her to stay away from me. The rest of the day was just amazing. I married my best friend, the love of my life, and just my rock. My brother walked me down the altar. We all cried at the vows. It was just spectacular. Of course, I missed my parents, but it is what it is. The celebration was very funny. My husband had studied a choreography to a Taylor Swift song with his groomsmen, and the speeches could have been from a stand-up club. We left for our honeymoon, and when we came back, I decided to start looking for jobs in a different city. I didn't want to lose my friends, but I just felt like I needed a clean break. I got a new job at a university in a bigger city, and we are currently in the process of moving. But maybe the biggest change, and also the most cliché change, is that I am pregnant. It is a classic honeymoon baby. I have only heard through people in town about the rest of my family. My sister is still going around telling people that I was the reason my brother-in-law broke up with her and that I was trying to dox her. She has moved in with my parents again and refuses to work. Nan told me that the last time she saw my parents, they looked exhausted because my sister was behaving like a baby. I guess their parenting is catching up with them. I can only say that I am really happy right now. It hurts having lost family, but at the end of the day, cutting out toxic people is the best I could do.